What's going on, my fellow jewelers? So today I am teaching you how to make one of the easiest UV jewelry sets you will ever make in your whole life. Look at these. Look at the green. Oh my gosh, I love the gold foil in them. I love this whole piece. Now, I was looking all over Pinterest and seeing these. I saw pictures. I saw like tiny, like super quick clips of them, but no one teaches you a darn thing. And so you're like, I gotta at least try. And so that's what I did. I tried, and when I did, I was absolutely positively shocked. I was like, whoa, like how easy was that? And if it's that easy, I gotta teach you guys because no one's teaching me. So that's what we're doing today. Now, before we get started making this fabulous jewelry UV set, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Click that bell, get notifications, because I love teaching you about how to make jewelry. I do UV resin, I do epoxy, I do beaded jewelry. I got your back on all of that. So you and me, let's get this party started. Party's about to begin, but don't forget that everything that I'm using today, from the materials to the tools, you can check them out in the description below. I have a list of them along with links. All right, so here's all the circles I want to use. I kind of want to get them all on the same tape. It'll just be easier that way. And so I'm going to make a pretty long tape, way longer than I usually use. And I'm going to cut this baby up. And now I'm going to fold over just a little bit so I have a place to put my finger. Okay, and so I'm going to lay it down. And then I'm going to put them as close together as possible, making sure that they're on the tape. That one almost missed the tape. Making sure they're on the tape. And then I'm going to put this one here. I'm going to put these on. And it's just still going to stick to me. And I could have made the tape even smaller. Look at that. That's pretty cool. And now, with these, just make sure the smallest ones are touching, just make sure it doesn't matter where they're at actually. Make sure that it's touching one of the sides, right? And so I'm gonna do the same thing. You would think that you would have to make sure that it's the exact same angle, they look exactly like, but no matter where they're touching, it's gonna turn out the same, which is super cool to me. Like, I don't have to be like, oh no, it's not touching exactly enough or whatever. Just make sure it's touching as much as possible, and they're gonna come out exactly, which is amazing. I think that's like the coolest trick ever. Because this is chemicals we're dealing with, and so you wanna make sure that you are safe wearing your gloves. I always wear a mask when I'm not doing video, and then I wear clothes I don't care about, and so, or I put on an apron. Okay, so now I have my powder, apple green. That's an interesting color name for it. I wouldn't think it was apple green, but whatever. I am going to, with this, you're not using a lot of resin, so you're not gonna need a lot of mica. I'm using mica powder. UV resin is fickle. You can't use all the coloring agents you can use for epoxy. Get some gold foil in there. This is, I mean, you can do anything. You can do flowers with this. You can do foil. I mean, there's so many things you can do, but this is the coloring I decided to do for this jewelry piece, and I'm really excited about it. So I'm gonna put a little bit of foil, and I'm going to break it up as much as possible, especially mixing it as much as possible so there's just tiny, tiny, tiny flakes in there. So I'm going to break it up with my finger, making sure there's no like sheets stuck together. I don't want, wow, there's like 3 sheets there. I'm gonna just do that real quick, fast forward through the video because this may take a minute. And then we'll get to adding the UV part, the UV resin part. Not as broken up as I like it to be, but it will do. When I mix in the UV and I use my stick, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Okay, now I'm gonna add, oh, and when you wanna squeeze it, it's gonna wanna make air, and then it's gonna like blow your mica away. So just make sure you be careful. And I'm gonna add a lot because I'm doing, a lot for UV resin. Not a lot compared to epoxy resin. I do both in my life. And so I am gonna squirt a lot. Gonna add a lot so I can fill all 3. So the thing is, like, you can always make another batch if you don't have enough, but you can never color exactly the same way, it feels like. And so then it feels like you're having different colors when it comes to, like, if you do 2 batches of this. So I'd just rather make a big batch and have a little too much than not enough and have to make another batch that does not match the color and everything else for each of these circles. Okay, that should be good. Now I'm gonna stir. I'm gonna stir slowly, don't wanna make a lot of bubbles. I'm gonna try to break up my resin, not my resin, I'm gonna try to break up the foil in there. I don't want big chunks. So I'm gonna mix up, try to break up my foil so there's little pieces. All right, so now we're gonna put it in the circles, and you don't wanna overflow. Do not overflow, that'll be very bad. But you do want to make sure every corner is hit, make sure there's a nice layer, and just don't overflow it. Okay, so here we go. I'm just gonna use my stick, my popsicle stick, and I'm gonna put it in there like so, and then it's gonna level out. So I'm gonna let it level itself out and go like this. And I even think I added too much. Oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh, I'm adding too much. I'm doing what I said not to do. Ah! Don't, like, the thing is with this one, you don't need very much at all. You really don't, and you really don't. Take a little bit out. You get it stuck on your stick and you take a little bit out at a time. Now you can take a toothpick. I have my little handy dandy tool that I've used a bunch of times, and I'm going to just go around and make sure all the edges have resin in it. Make sure all the edges have resin. I'm going to actually spread out my foil so they're not all clumped together as well. I'm going to make sure, I only have a little bit of foil in that one, so I'm going to grab a couple more foil pieces and lay in there. And I'm just making sure that the resin is everywhere. And then with these earring part, there's a little itty bitty space. Make sure that you get your resin in those little itty bitty spaces. Okay, because you don't want it being see-through, you don't want there being nothing, and so just make sure that you hit every angle, every corner, just patiently, making sure it's even too, because there's some places that seem lower than others. And then we're gonna spread out our foil. Just take your time, you know, have fun with it, just enjoy the moment, you know what I'm saying? I feel this one is it's a little overflowing. It's a little overflowing, so I want to take it out because somehow when you heat the resin, it wants to expand and pour over. So you want to make sure that these are not too full. So now we're going to hit it with the light for about 2 minutes on one side, flip it over, 2 minutes on the other side, and just make sure it's completely dry, and then we can move on to the next step. All right, so we have done 2 minutes on one side, 2 minutes on the back side. So important to do the back side or it'll be sticky and it won't be completely dry, and you don't want that at all. Now, oh, they're so pretty. We can take these off. Take them off gently, slowly, patiently. Okay, I'm not very patient. I'm not very patient. I just want to rip them off, but be patient. And you may have some stickiness. You can either, for me, I use resin tape, and so it's easy just to rub off the stickiness. It just takes a little bit of time, or you can use some rubbing alcohol and clean it up as well. So it doesn't take much time at all for me to do that. So the next step is we gotta connect these three together, and you can like mess around with it before you connect it, see how close you want them together or how far away you want them together. I want them spaced out pretty well. But here's the tip: you want to put just barely any. Can I tell you, just like barely, because it will squish and it will seep out and it looks awful. You're gonna put this where you want it, just barely, and then you're gonna kind of hold it there. You're gonna kind of hold it there on one, just going like this, right? And then when it dries enough, which it hasn't, it will stop moving completely. When it dries enough, you're gonna flip it over and you're gonna dry it with your flashlight on the other side. If you don't have a flashlight, you can totally do this with your light. For some reason, I like doing my flashlight. I feel like I can control it more and get more around and move it around. But I want to just make sure it's dry completely. I want to dry it. You're gonna think you need a lot to make sure it stays together and sticks, but actually just a little drop, because again, once you push them together, the drop will go like that and just spread out, and it comes out and it looks horrible. And so you don't want that happening. I've had it happen. It was awful. Barely a drop, right? Okay, they are stuck together just like that. Easy peasy mountain squeezy. Now I'm gonna take, and I should have my gloves on, but I feel I can do this more precisely without gloves. I'm just gonna take a little drop. Maybe just a little bit more. I probably should not have done that. Probably should not have done the second drop. And then I'm going to place it where I want it. I'm gonna get my flashlight out before it moves. It's moving! It's gonna stop moving! You don't want to dry it to the paper, to your table or whatever you're using. Just want to make sure that you're drying it. And then you come on this side and you dry it. Okay, let's make these beauties into jewelry pieces. So I have my chain already. I have my chain. I need to put a clasp on, all that good stuff. Now, I want to put a hole in this, and I have my nice little manual screwdriver. You don't want to do it where there's a gap right here. You want to flip it over and make sure that this small piece is flat against the paper, so when you press down, you don't break it, right? And so I'm just going to put a little hole in here at the very top, right by the metal piece. And you have your hole at the top. Very easy, very quick. Now I want to put my clasp on, and then I'll put my pendant on. So I'm going to take a jump ring. Taking a jump ring, gonna open it. I'm gonna put it on the last link of my chain. I'm gonna put my clasp on one side. My clasp. You don't have to make it. Mine is magnetic. Yours does not have to be magnetic. It's a pain in the butt to put on, but I like wearing it magnetic because it's so light. And I feel it's okay that the magnet will hold it. And then I'm gonna do that to the other side, exact same thing to the other side. Okay, so now I'm gonna get another jump ring. I'm gonna open it. If you've never done a jump ring before, I have a tutorial for that. Super easy, very easy video to follow. And I'm gonna put it through that hole, and then I'm going to put the chain inside. I'm not gonna hook it to one of the links. I'm just gonna put it inside so it's free to move about the cabin. It's free to move on the necklace. And there you have your necklace. Now let's do the earrings really quick. I have two jump rings. I have bigger jump rings, and then I have tiny ones that I already put on my hook. I already have jump rings that I put on my hook just to save time. So I'm gonna open up my jump ring, and I am going to put my earring on, this part on. I'm so excited. This is so pretty. And then I'm gonna put my hook on, and then I'm gonna close it up, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the other side. Oh my God. And there, my fellow jewelers, you have a UV pendant earring jewelry set. All right, it's the end of my video, and that means I love praying for my viewers. I get to pray for you, that's right. And so every time I always ask God, what do you want me to pray for this video? And this one hit really close to home. It hit too close to home. He wants me to pray for you guys who have been assaulted, that I was just like asking him and feeling him, and I felt his hurt for you. I felt like this kind of like even like grossness that you have from being assaulted by whoever, whatever, however, right? And he wants to totally heal you. He wants to take away that feeling of dirtiness. He wants to start the healing process for your heart and your mind, right? Sometimes it's your mind that needs the healing, right? And this is really close to home in that I was assaulted, and I didn't think it was an assault. I didn't think it was sexual assault. But I had all these signs that I had been sexually assaulted, and it was so weird. And I dealt with it for 20 years, and I'm like, well, I have all these signs, I have all these feelings, but it doesn't feel like I can't, there's no memory, and maybe I'm going blank, and I didn't think I was. And it wasn't until I started getting mentored and being a counselor, and my mentor's like, well, the best way to be a counselor and to be mentored in it is to actually be counseled. And so she walked me through the whole counseling process, and come to find out, this situation that happened when I was a really young girl was sexual assault. And I was like, I didn't think it because of this, and this. And so I went through this deep, oh my gosh, gut-wrenching healing process, bawling, crying, talking about it, praying about it, all this stuff. And so it's just a really hard subject to talk about, and sometimes we just keep it to ourselves. And so I just want to pray for you. So Lord, I just pray for those that have been assaulted. God, I pray for the deep wounds, God, the wounds that go so deep that they can't even feel like they can talk about it. God, I pray that you would start the healing process right now. God, I pray for those that feel so dirty, God, they feel dirty, and they get these triggers, Lord, and it just feels like these emotions just come back over and over and over again. I pray, Lord, that you would mend their heart right now. I pray that you would stop the triggers. Lord, I pray, God, that you would make them take away that dirty feeling. God, I pray, take away the shame, take away all the feelings that came from that assault, Lord, and that you would just heal them or send people that can walk them through healing or whatever it takes, Lord, that they would be healed or start the healing process. God, thank you that you care. God, thank you that you have this big heart, that you care about this situation and that you want to walk them through it, God. I just pray that whatever it takes, God, that it would happen for the healing. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.